Hi everybody and welcome back to the Upper Room. Since Easter just passed, I wanted to make a video on the resurrection. Our entire faith is based off of the resurrection. It is the hinging point between us believing in Jesus or not. If Jesus didn't come back to life, if he didn't resurrect from the dead, then that means he has no power over life and death. But he did resurrect from the dead. He did come back to life. He not only brought himself back to life, he also brought back to life many other people as well. Lazarus and a little girl back to life, as well as healed many different people from all types of incurable diseases. Jesus' resurrection is what our entire faith hinges upon. So how do we know that he came back to life? Well, we know that the Romans were really good at killing people. They were really good at what they did, and they did it all day long. They knew exactly what they were doing. When Jesus was chastised, he was beaten so badly that some of the disciples said they couldn't even recognize him. When he carried his cross and he got to the top of the mountain and they crucified him on that cross, they made sure that he had died. They even lanced his side, thrusting it into his heart, and out came blood and water. So they made sure that he was dead. He was nearly beaten to death by the chastisement before he was even crucified on the cross. Everybody witnessed his death. There were so many people that witnessed him be murdered on that cross. All the high priests, many of the Jewish people, not all the Jewish people didn't believe in Jesus. Many of them did believe that he is the fruition of the Messiah. Many of them believed that he is the Messiah. And there were thousands of people following Jesus from town to town, listening to his ministries, listening to all his teachings, and watching him cure people and feed people with the loaves and fishes and several other miracles that aren't even written in the Bible, which the Bible tells us that Jesus performed more miracles that aren't all written in the Bible. After Jesus had cleansed the temple, he stood up to the temple priests and he told them, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will rebuild it." And they didn't know what he was talking about. They were like, it's taken 46 years to build this temple. He was talking about the temple of his body, because after Jesus was buried in the sepulcher, he came back to life in 3 days. How many people saw him? All the disciples saw him, and nearly 500 people, eyewitnesses, saw Jesus. The same people that saw him be murdered on that cross then later saw him walking around. How long did he stay with the disciples? He stayed with the disciples for 40 days. Over a month he was with them after he had come back to life. A whole month. These eyewitness accounts have lasted the test of time. To think that so many people with all of these eyewitness testimonies saying that he had come back to life, with thousands of Jews starting to believe in the fruition of the Messiah because he came back to life, still many Jews didn't believe and chose not to. And then after the 40 days, Jesus ascended into heaven, and with arms raised, he blessed the disciples, and he was taken up into a cloud. And the disciples were looking upwards, and they looked down, and an angel was standing before him. And the angel said, "Men of Galilee, why do you look up into the sky? The Son of Man will return in the same way that he has ascended." And after his ascension was the descent of the Holy Spirit. After Jesus left the earth was changed dramatically. And many men who were devout Jews, who practiced the law of Moses regularly, every year, participated in the Sabbath, knew the law, completely changed the way that they worshiped because of Christ. Jews don't do that. They just don't do that. It's against God. But they knew that Jesus is God. They knew that he is the Son of God, that he's the Messiah, because he came back to life. Many people would, once they're persecuted, once they're starting to be tortured, once they've started to tell us that it's a lie, say that it's a lie, say that he didn't come back to life. Many people, if it really was a lie, they would say, okay, don't kill me. It's a lie. But they didn't. They took it to their deaths. Not just the 12, thousands of believers after them, because Christ manifests himself in some way to each individual so they know and they believe. I've never walked with Jesus. Peter did, but I believe that Christ rose from the dead because Jesus has manifested himself to me in a way that I know that heaven exists, that he exists, that the saints are his best friends, that they exist, that the kingdom of heaven is there, and this life isn't the end. Either we waste it chasing after the things of this world, or we chase after the one thing that matters, Jesus. We have to give our lives to him because we're going to stand before him in the judgment. I don't want to stand before him and tell him that I'm sorry for chasing all the things of the world and never chasing him. I'm tired of running away, and I hope you are too. So thanks for watching this video on the resurrection.